This is Lawrence Person of BattlestormBlog.com, an interview with Republican Texas Senate candidate Craig James on March 21st, 2012, the 2-year anniversary of the passage of Obamacare. So first of all, basic question, what made you decide to run for the Senate?
Well, I think it was the collision of being fed up with the direction of the country that collided with what I believe was a calling for me to do it, and an opportunity and a clear opening for the resume that I present in this race. I've been a businessman for the last 30 years, starting many different businesses, and for the last 3 years I have struggled, like other small business owners, to make it through this economy, and through these regulations and the uncertainty. I get it. I'm a real speaker. I say that, I mean it. I understand that signing a front of a check goes through. And I want to preserve the America that I grew up with. And I'm living the American dream. Most people know me as a broadcaster, as a football player. When people hear my background from an apartment boy, reading the eviction notice, I had to fight hard as a kid to survive. A lot of stuff. It didn't harm me, but I saw my out through sports and education. And that's why I've had so many different jobs I've started through my life. You know, I'm proud to be an American. And I know what America allowed me to do. And continues to allow me to do. We're not on track with that.
In David Dewhurst, Ted Cruz, and Tom Leppert, there are already 3 well-established, well-funded Republican candidates who've been running and raising money since last year. How do you plan to overcome their head starts in funding and endorsements?
Well, the endorsement category, the citizens of Texas are endorsing me. Countless numbers of people. When I go to meetings like this, when I go to the Republican Party meetings, the Tea Party meetings, I can't begin to tell you the number of conversions of people who had endorsed someone who are coming over to our camp. It's humbling, it's flattering, it means my message resonates. They're getting the option that I present to this race. Now, keep in mind this is really important to know, that in January when we did our statewide poll, 60 to 65% of the registered Republican primary voters were undecided. We could still, you and I could still walk down the street today in Austin or any other city and ask 10 people who's in the race. Maybe 2 or 3 could tell you. Most of them couldn't even tell you that there's a race May the 29th. I mean, that's how few people are really paying attention. So, was it late by traditional standards? Perhaps, but the people in the state of Texas are just about to begin to start paying attention in this race, and there's a big pot of folks out there who have not made their mind up. And you have to understand this also, and I'm being realistic about this. I'm not, rose-colored glasses on. People in Texas know who I am. Name ID is a big thing. People know who I am, and when they hear my story and where I'm coming from and why I'm doing this, it's resonating with them.
Okay. What would you say is the single most important issue you hope to address as a senator?
First and foremost, to get the federal government back in its box. Adhere to the Constitution. Right now, we're not doing that as a federal government. For instance, the APA. They are intruding upon the freedom of states' rights. I'm a big 10th Amendment guy. So I have to go up there and try to help them to understand there's a limited role that this federal government is supposed to have, and to put it back in the box. And with a first-person account of the intrusion as a citizen, I respect and appreciate what we have. When the country started, you know as a historian that we had 4 departments: State, Treasury, Attorney General, and Department of War. And now we've ballooned and mushroomed all these agencies and bureaucracy, and it's strangling our economy. The number one issue I hear on this campaign trail, people want to work, people want a job. And so from my standpoint, what I'm going to bring to it is a desire to get the government to adhere to the Constitution, which honors freedom and free markets, not regulations, and allows people to have a good feeling about themselves, that American spirit of can-do, which is what I had growing up. That's what I want to do.
Okay. You founded and are chairman of Texans for a Better America. What specific conservative policies or initiatives has Texans for a Better America undertaken?
Well, what we did, the initiative for that was to really allow me to have a platform to share my thoughts and my policy ideas. You know, I've been a board member of the Texas Public Policy Foundation, so people were hearing from me on that. I wanted to create a website and a platform for them to hear me personally what I had to say, and to provide them a platform to share their thoughts and initiatives. So it filled a void for me while I was in the interim thinking about doing this, because I didn't just wake up overnight. I mean, this didn't just happen. I mean, this has been 2-3 years of me preparing to make this run. I've been around the state and I've been talking to people, so I didn't just flip the switch on January the 1st.
Right.
So that was kind of a stopgap, an interim measure for me.
Okay. The Obama administration's reckless enlargement of the federal government and out-of-control spending are among the biggest problems the federal government will have to confront in 2013. Which federal agencies or programs do you think should be eliminated entirely?
I don't know if you followed along with me, but I recently came out with education reform, and the Department of Education, as a senator, I would abolish. I would put all funding money back into the local school districts so that local school officials can best educate their kids. This is a big part of what I believe in here, okay? We have to stop the massive dropout rates in our high schools. We have to stop the babysitting service in high school. We have to stop expecting everyone to want to go to college. That's not practical. So my idea is to introduce life skills development into the high schools so that kids that want to be an electrician or a plumber or a bricklayer or a nurse or whatever it is, they can prepare to become 18-year-olds personally responsible. If those who want to be a banker, a lawyer, a doctor want to go on to higher education, so be it. But to me, it's morally the right thing to do in taking care of our children. It's economically a great thing for the state of Texas because we're going to have a prepared labor force. And then you and I both know that there's a void right now and a big gulf of need for skilled labor in the manufacturing sector especially. And it's high-paying jobs, $77,000 on average. It's a very nice paying deal. Let's stop putting our kids to the street. So for me, right away, the Department of Education would be abolished. We'd start preparing our kids to be personally responsible, successful Americans.
Okay. You're competing for the seat of the retiring Kay Bailey Hutchinson. How do you think your approach would differ from hers, and do you agree with Rick Perry's assertion in the 2010 gubernatorial race that Washington changed Kay?
I'm going to talk about what I believe in and where we are today. You know, all the things that have happened in the past have gotten us to the point where we are. And it's no one individual. It's a collection of failure by Washington, by Congress. People inside the Beltway have failed the Americans. That's why as a citizen, when I step up and say I'm running to preserve the Constitution. I believe in the 10 Commandments of the Constitution. And I'll always stand by those. As a former football player, that's my sidelines. And it's a good sideline to stay within. Now, two things I always ask. How do the free markets come into play, and what does the Constitution say about it? So, looking forward from a solution standpoint, not thinking about what happened in Kay Bailey's deal or Governor Perry's deal, what can we do today to allow free markets and the Constitution to re-enter our concept in this country? And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be me, coming with 30 years of preparation for this. I think right now, if you're a politician or if you've only lived in a courtroom, you're ill-equipped. You're not prepared for the challenge that we need right now in the Senate chamber. We can't send another politician there. The majority of the people inside the Senate chambers are lawyers. We don't need another lawyer. We need someone with a different balance, different perspective to provide for the chamber.